crypto asset? Bitcoin is the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
This is Discover Crypto Live. Smash that like button as you come in. We got major news. We're eyeing a Bitcoin breakout. We got Cardano breakout news. We're going to talk about some DeFi implications. And we got Josh here with us. And we're going to maybe even bring up some meme stocks. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
GameStop being shorted by the big whale entities. Josh, how are you doing today?
I'm feeling good. The yesterday's stream was awesome. We barely slept. We should have just done a sleep stream, honestly, and just rolled it all the way over into the morning show. But no, we're looking at the charts right now. I wanted to pull this up while we watch this breaking. I disappeared. My camo jacket, I guess, got put back on. But it looks like we are starting to form quite a bit of a bull flag here on Bitcoin. And this morning, this was really cool to see. The jobless claims reports came out very, very well. As we continue to predict on the macroeconomic scale, guys, we've been giving you guys literally every single economic data point and pretty much giving you the direct outline on what this is going to look like.
Can you
what that looks like here is
adjust that screen for me?
Oh, it's not the window. You're gonna have to, yeah, I'll do it in 2 seconds.
All right.
We have, sorry guys, I figured out what the issues was. There was OCD going on behind the screen, and it started getting fidgety. But the SPX here, guys, after the initial drop here from the auto manufacturers yesterday, which we covered with you guys with Donald Trump and the tariffs and everything that was just kind of spooking the markets early in the morning, immediately rebounding. So now getting that SPX bouncing nicely here. And of course, Bitcoin just broke back above $87,000, and we're getting some nice upside action. So what I'd be watching here, and DZ loves to do this all the time, but you take the bottom of this bull flag here. What is going on with the quality of the stream? Is it me or is it?
No, it's probably just buffering. Yeah, it's on your side.
Oh, gotcha. So they should be good.
Yeah.
Too buff.
I'm too buff here, guys. I go to the gym twice, and all of a sudden I'm just breaking the internet here. But yeah, so if we can break, it's going to be this $87,600 level, DZ. The upside of that is back above 92.5, which is that previous resistance level. So interesting to watch this play out. Of course, we'll be watching this on the time frame here today, but we got a lot of news to break down. So exciting things, exciting times.
I'm glad you pulled up that Bitcoin chart. I'm kind of looking at something similar. I'm looking at a 10-minute chart. I'm not sure what candle length you're looking at here, but looking at the relative strength index. You know, DZ loves the relative strength index. We just put in a very massive oversold position on the RSI, came down to about 11. So I back tested and see what does Bitcoin react after it touches this on the RSI. We have to go back a ways, folks. So let me shrink this so we can really, you see here on the bottom, we hadn't done it since this price dump right there. Look what happened after the 10-minute RSI got that low. Bitcoin just went on a run. And if we just look at the previous few, also another really good run to the upside there, and then yet one more run to the upside. And it's just a pattern that you see repeating and repeating until you go to the 9th of March. So 3 out of the last 4 times, Bitcoin just went on a mega rally in the short time frames, that is.
Yeah, and I do like seeing here too, as you pull that up on like the daily time frames and everything as well, is, you know, this daily trend that we've been on. We did bounce off it very nicely this morning. This was going to be that 200-day moving average, but it just shows to me that there is a lot of bull steam here. I'd be watching that stochastic though, because I have to keep pointing this out. I hate being that guy, but my biggest worst case scenario right here is going to be this 84.4 level or this 84.3 level. So that futures gap, we're going to be watching very closely. But the SPX, if you guys look at it, look what the SPX did this morning. It actually came all the way down and filled the gap that was created yesterday, bounced off of it very, very well. So we might be looking to see actually kind of a rollout of really positive data that can push us back up towards that 92K category. So very exciting. And we'll see. I mean, we have, I think, sorry, we didn't have, were initials today, or was it?
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, folks,
yeah.
we have a new X account where we just posted some of the job numbers right here. So initial claims, actual 224, estimated was 225. and the prior was 223. But I really want to highlight, we just got this account going, folks. Discover Crypto Live. If you find Disco Crypto Live on X.
Yeah, and it's not an old account. It is a previous account because all we do is win here on Discover Crypto, guys. So that is we are back, baby, on the Discover Crypto
and we're
Live
back in
channel.
black.
Yep.
Back in the saddle again.
Everybody in black today.
You know, I was looking at that picture of me. If you scroll down on Discover Live, dude, I was even skinnier when I
That's
first
not you.
came out here, man. Yeah, look at that. The crypto ages you guys. That one right there. Yeah, dude.
So young.
Yeah, so look, it's so before that was before the bull run, really, if you actually think about it.
That was your first time visiting. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't nervous at all getting thrown into fire, but hey, we're here.
Go live. Thousands of people watching, and they all have expectations.
Oh, yes.
All right, well, speaking of expectations, let's look at the market because I just hit refresh. There is a sea of red on the 1 hour time frames here when we're looking at CoinGecko, a sea of red. I hit refresh, and we have started a little bit of a little nice bounce. We were looking at that in the charts. If you're wondering what is the biggest mover for today that might spell some bullishness, wow, look at that. Ondo, Pepe.
What was that?
Cow. Ondo, man, couldn't help but notice. Yeah, Ondo is up 3.2% in the last 1 hour.
We need like a live band that just plays music whenever something happens, and we need like a theme song for that. Anytime it just gets meant, and it's like,
I actually opened along on a DeFi position, and I'll tell you why I opened that DeFi position later, and I'll reveal it. But I chose Aave. I chose Link. Clearly, I should have chose Ondo, but Link's also a big winner here. And hey, DZ maybe opened along on Sui as well. Shout out to Crypto Face just being a bull.
I might do it on Aave as well. I mean, you have TJ sliding my DMs at like 1 a.m. in the morning, sending me those bullish Aave stories ever.
Hey. What do you real quick super chat here? What do you guys have as a VPN? What is your favorite VPN to use?
I use unlimited VPN, and I'm not like, oh my god, I just love it so much. It's just the one that I end up jumping on in 2020, 2021. It's just the one I've been using since then. A lot of people like Nord.
Yeah, I've been using Nord for like 7, 8 years, I feel like, at this point.
I use Nord too. So
yeah, I think, do we have a Nord description link in the bio? The description.
No, we don't.
We're just sharing our
we
own
need to get that filled out. We'll do this for you guys. We'll get some referral links. I mean, you can go sign up if you want to do it right now as well. But we'll put the referral links for Nord in the description here very soon. That is something that if you guys are new to crypto or just beginners, nothing in your phone's safe. Literally nothing. There's not a single.
What about Signal chats?
Is not
when you're talking about Houthi strikes.
Close. Depends on if you're looking for a signal gate or not there for
or
you.
If Jeffrey Goldberg's in the chat.
No, seriously, it's like if you guys want to protect yourself, like incognito and even those privacy layers are not secure for, especially when you're connecting to Wi-Fi at a Starbucks or a library or an airport, which you shouldn't probably be doing if you have crypto on your phone anyways. But if you do, use a VPN. It keeps you safe, keeps you secure. And at this point in our life, guys, there's very limited access to privacy, and that is probably the most. Besides freedom of speech, your privacy and your right to privacy is one of the most important things. So make sure you guys go use those.
Absolutely. We got chat here that says crazy opening longs, but we shall see in 6 days.
Helps.
Now, yeah, I was gonna say these are not these aren't swing trades. These are, you're probably going to have this closed within hours, not within weeks, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm looking at some entry points that, do not look terrible. Let's look at the crypto market cap here. So we got Bitcoin, ETH, slightly in the green, XRP pretty much in the red here. Cardano in the red, Dogecoin in the red, Batron, nice little pump here, 3.1. I think OKX it's Toncoin, Bearchain, and Tia, all with some nice prints here. Sui, Maker, and Pi. Pi, though, down 30% for the week. So don't celebrate too much if you've been holding that token on the way down. We try to tell you to find a faster horse. Looking at the slowest horses, these are the lame horses. Looks like Bonk, Story, and Injective have broken a leg here. Move, XTC, and Sheeb. Some meme coins, a little bit of a pullback from the very bullish action that we had yesterday. So we see Dogecoin down, Bonk down, Shiba Inu down, but they were like the biggest gainers yesterday, so I wouldn't worry too much. And Crow also getting a little bit of a peel back, but still up 23% for the week there. So that looking pretty good. Let's talk about Bitcoin and the Bitcoin whales. Josh, we're talking about eyeing a breakout. And we're going to go back to the charts here, but Bitcoin eyes a breakout towards $100,000 as whale accumulation surges. But I got two cohorts of whales. I got the blues and I got the orcas here. And if we scroll down, you'll see what we're talking about. So they're classifying whales It's wallets that hold between 1 and 10,000. Now, this increase from 1980 to 1991 this is the highest count since December 15th. So the whales between 1,000 and 10,000, they're accumulating. This could imply institutional or high net worth investors are positioning themselves ahead of potential bullish moves, adding weight to the current support levels, and maybe even some more upside. But if we look over here, different whales, 10,000 Bitcoin and more, mega whales, if you will. These mega whales bought $11 billion worth of Bitcoin in just 2 weeks. And so these, since March 11th, the so-called whales have snapped up 129,000 Bitcoin. It's worth about 11.2 billion at a market price of about 87,500. This is the most significant accumulation rate since August 2024. And Glassnode's reporting is using whale addresses with over 10,000 Bitcoin. Now, if you look at August 2024, Josh, you remember what happened. August 2024 was a local low. That's this is the August 5th capitulation event. That was the lowest time you can buy Bitcoin since. We might not go this low again. It's under 50,000. There's a world where we never go this low again. And so the last time the whales accumulated this much was right around here. And now they're accumulating the same over the past 2 weeks. So that means they kind of started around here going, let's go ahead and measure it. So past 2 weeks, starting here. So the whales are accumulating. Now is not the time to sell your Bitcoin. You can still get rich with Bitcoin. That's
I
kind of
do
my
have a live look at the whales accumulating Bitcoin and what is happening to retail in real time here. It kind of looks like this. This is the orca whales accumulating as much Bitcoin as possible. And we are the little sea lion you're about to see in about 2 seconds.
No, I'm the turd that came from a seagull.
You're a turd that came from a seagull. This is what my portfolio. There we go. There we are. That was
because I hold Cardano.
Yep. Boom.
You know?
Just like that. Absolutely accumulated, wiped out, eaten for lunch.
That's people that are just all in on meme coins and altcoins, and they don't hold enough Bitcoin. Those are the Bitcoin whales right there that are just eating up this market. Those are the BlackRocks. Those are the Fidelities, the big money of the world coming in and just eating up all these people that are chasing meme coin gains that are going to be happy to get out here soon. And then the bull market starts, and that's just the way it always goes. Yeah.
We got a lot of people, White Rock will be huge. Yeah. Speaking of BlackRock, look at this from British HODL. 500,000 Bitcoin have rotated from retail, aka from me and you, to institutional investors, aka BlackRock, in the last 9 months. They will take more. This is a tale as old as time. Kind of reminds me of the gold confiscation. A lot of people had a lot of gold. They had silver deposits, they had gold, they had family heirlooms. And then the government comes in and just grabs it all. And you look today, probably a very high percentage of gold is in institutional vaults or missing in Fort Knox. We're seeing the same thing with Bitcoin. Do not sell your Bitcoin to BlackRock unless it's the top of the cycle, in which case, maybe you should sell it to BlackRock. We have Poly Market Bets also looking at a Bitcoin breakout. The bettors are in and the bull market is not over, according to people who are putting their money where their mouth is. If you think the bull run is over, you think we don't see another all-time high, place a bet on Poly Market. Nice 3-to-1 odds. Me personally, I'm going with normally not a great thing, but I'm going to go with the herd on this one. What do you guys think? Will Bitcoin hit an all-time high before 2026? Are you with the 69 or are you with the 31?
I'm with the 69. That's what I'm
normally
with the 69. It's not good to be with the herd, but when you're talking about prediction markets and where most of the money is, it is good to be with the herd. I mean, Poly Market is almost like a future predictor these days because people put their money where they have the money doesn't lie. Bottom line, like don't fight the odds, I would say, on that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm in that 69% that says we're definitely hitting all-time highs this year. Which just means basically over 110 or 108 and change.
And specifically too with Poly Market, like people that are betting on Poly Market are people in crypto. So it's like you have to know how to use wallets and everything for that. So I think that's also a smarter herd than looking at like a CNN poll, right? If a CNN poll said 89% of people believe a Bitcoin price is going to hit higher
or
this year,
Arizona's going to go to Harris.
Yeah, then exactly, right? I'm going to take it a little right, but those whales are definitely. Those are like real whales. So definitely a dominating market there. And I think that, I would say we're only $20,000 away from the all-time high, by the way, guys. That's right. We've seen $10,000 candlesticks. That means we're 2 days away from a all-time high on Bitcoin again, if you really think about it. So to say that this can't pivot that quickly, 2026, that is 3-4 months from here. We have all the tariffs and everything is pretty much priced in here on April 2nd. You saw the reversal here this morning. I mean, off the initial jobs claim here on the chart, the SPX completely eaten up this morning. So we started off, I was literally watching MSNBC. Yes, I will watch like competitors because I just want to see how much fear is being inside those markets.
Rachel mad now?
Yeah, mad cow disease is what I would like to say.
Just mad now. She's not a
either
cow.
way, you have no, she's not. That's true. Anyways, we have
she has the haircut of every PE teacher that was a female from when I was growing up.
Yeah, it's Mark Cuban. It's like never mind. We're gonna move away from that conversation. But either way, we have again, we're looking at a really strong breakout here from economic data. So as long as this keeps coming, let's go to Fed Watch here. This is what everybody should be looking at. Your watch tools. This looks like the prediction from 8 months ago we were talking about with the interest rates and the pivot here. You're not going to get money printing, but you get the reduction in interest rates. Look at June now, guys. June is 57, 60 to 66% or so of the market is pricing in a 25 basis point interest rate cut, which means if more economic data comes in, 33% of the market, the overall market, still doesn't expect that interest rate cut or that decision. And we have 2 months of economic data ahead of us. And I'm expecting the CPI reports to come out good next month. Your PPI reports to come out good now. Your manufacturing to be good next month. This is incredibly exciting. I'm very excited right now.
No, I agree with everything you guys just said. And that's all those reasons, all those economic things is why I think we'll be at all-time highs before the end of the summer. Forget about before the end of the year. I think we'll be at all-time highs before the end of the summer and pushing. I think we were looking at something today up to like 130, 140 by the end of the year. There's some pretty good odds on that. So I think maybe even 150. So yeah. All
right. We are, since we're speaking about the Fed decision, I just pulled up June. We are seeing a little bit of change over the past 7 days. Looks like blue is down and red is up. Just kind of zooming out here. So blue, the chances of a 25-point decrease lowering, the chances of no change, no cut in June rising. So something to maybe pay attention to. I love the Disco fan. We got one of the smartest chats out there. Just kind of want to look at this, and then we'll jump to the boosted super chat here. We have, what do you guys think of Polygon now that it's tokenizing real estate? I think a lot of ETH L2s are going to try to tokenize real estate. It's not clear that Polygon's going to be the winner. 2 comments later, Polygon feels like Polygonzo. I would maybe agree. Now the super chat here, super degen move, but I only have 1% of a Bitcoin. Thinking of rotating all into Lingondo Arrow, then next bear, staking 50, 60%, then buying Bitcoin at lows. I would not sell all the Bitcoin. If you really want to play the strategy, sell some Bitcoin, rotate into alts, and then sell those alts back into Bitcoin. I don't hate that if you have a clear strategy. I would have trouble selling 100%. I mean, 0.1%, that's $1,000. Maybe do $500 worth, maybe do $800 worth, but hodl a little bit of your Bitcoin is my advice.
That's good advice. I don't hate that strategy though,
because you have a clear exit.
Yeah, you have a plan. Those are also very strong with altcoins with strong fundamentals, strong value going on there. So don't hate it, but I agree. I agree exactly what DZ said. What we were going to see over time, it's going to be harder and harder to accumulate Bitcoin because the richest, most powerful people in the world. There is a chance. Now, I don't know what the percentage is on this. I'm not ready to put a percentage on it, but there is a chance that we do see a super cycle here, a Bitcoin super cycle, where Bitcoin really does break away from the rest of the market and it's no longer correlated. And that 0.01 Bitcoin, which again it's not 0.1, it's 0.01. So I understand it's a small amount of money. And if you want to turn a very small amount of money into more money crypto, you do have to take more risk. So that strategy you're outlining there, definitely more risk. I hesitate to ever tell anybody to come off any of their Bitcoin, but if you're trying to really make some moves, you're going to have to take some risks to do it. It's stuff I've done in the past. I did sell Bitcoin for altcoins, and I did end up riding those altcoins up and ended up with more Bitcoin in the end. Things like Solana last cycle, things like Chainlink even last cycle I did well with. Even things that didn't turn out so great now, like Cosmos I did really well with. Avalanche I did really well with. All when they were much, much, much smaller. It was a risk. It did pay off. So you can make money doing that. But I do think we're getting into the part of the cycle where if anybody's talking about selling Bitcoin, I'd just be like, look, do whatever you can to hold on to that Bitcoin. Try to, if it's $1,000 you're sitting on, or what would that be, $800, try to find another way to come up with $800 and put that into altcoins. Just, what do you think, Josh?
I wouldn't sell my Bitcoin.
Yeah. But you also are
like,
heavy alts. Imagine you had zero
but I
alts.
think like and let me rephrase that. Like what I want to label that as, I only have 0.1% of Bitcoin. Like I think, or did he say 0.1 or 1%?
0.01.
1%.
Oh, 0.01% of Bitcoin.
Yeah. We're talking
Yeah,
like $800.
To me, and this is just a different strategy, but I think what TJ is doing, that's great. But like, maybe because it just depends on also how researched you are and how into the market you are. Like people aren't like us sitting at these screens every day monitoring, doing DeFi and everything as well. So it's not as easy to maybe make as much money in these markets and trade in and out of altcoins. For me, my entire goal is to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible because, again, I want to point out, like, especially to anybody that's, we have a really large audience here. A lot of you guys are 35 plus. We have the demographics. And so usually you guys have a significant amount of savings. You guys are already focused on retirement. Maybe you have a house or two and you're, investing. We also have people that are brand new to crypto and they only have a couple $100 or a couple, 50 to $100 investing. So we have a broad range of individuals here. And I think my goal is the same no matter what level I'm at in crypto. My entire goal is to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible because in a bear market, even if Bitcoin, like there's going to be diminishing returns. I believe there's going to be a day where Bitcoin starts only fluctuating by 5 or 10% to the downside. And if you're just stacking and stacking it over the course of the next 5 to 10 years, we have 5 to 10 years. You have 5 to 10 years to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible. As Michael Saylor even pointed out in the live stream last night, by 2035, that is the gold rush. 2035 is the end of the gold rush for Bitcoin because at that point, 99% of Bitcoin will be in circulation and all of your big players will already be within the sector. So he's got outrageous price predictions. But my point to that is, like, I believe Bitcoin's going to be an amazing tool to like be able to borrow against and then just like put that into stables and earn yield and whatnot. And there's a lot of different mechanics we can do with that. PJ, you're known for this in the office here. You took out a loan against Bitcoin, like tripled your Bitcoin investment because you got it. I don't know what that was at or what those prices were. But those are like those mechanics you can start messing with where it's way less risky and it's risk adjusted to a larger portfolio. So if you're new and you only have like 50 to $500 in the market, yeah, I'd probably be dabbling in altcoins because it's like, I'm not looking for a 3x on Bitcoin. That's not going to do much over the course of the next 2 to 3 years for me. But I'd also not just be putting that in altcoins. I'd be using that to go buy some of these books behind me. I'd be using that to go buy a power washer and try to figure out how can I invest $400 in a month.
You
right?
mine fiat.
You mine fiat. And so I think it's just, I don't know if there's a right strategy, but I agree with both your guys' perspectives on what you would do with that. Because I think it just depends on the individual and what their risk-adjusted strategies are.
All right. Speaking of risk-adjusted strategies, what's one of the riskiest stocks to hold over the last 4 years if you're a short seller?
Wait, what's that?
What's the riskiest stock to short sell over the last
GameStop, dude, all day long, baby.
Yeah.
Folks, they're back. They are back. We got a GameStop article here, but let me just show you this right here. Breaking 1.1 million GameStop shares have been borrowed short, meaning they're not actually even holding the assets. They're really doing it. They're trying to short sell GameStop. Now, maybe it's a coincidence. It happened the same day that they announced they're going to buy Bitcoin. Maybe, but probably not. Maybe this is legacy financial systems firing a shot. Well, we had more news with GameStop after our morning stream yesterday. And so we talked about, all right, it looks like the board has approved buying Bitcoin.
Real quick.
They took it a step further.
Yeah, I just want to pause. I mean, I just want to shout out one of our key members here. Happy birthday, C90, for the win. He's been in the chat every day for years. Great member. He gifted somebody else a membership in the chat. So love that guy. One of our top members, top mods. So shout out to him. Just wanted to give him that shout out in the chat.
Yeah, we got one of the top people here, Club Gris, bringing up Tesla. We'll look at Tesla stock. DZ told everybody to buy it on the Friday member stream. We're looking at the charts. We'll reveal what's happened over the last 5 days shortly. But GameStop, here's the big news. So all right, they approved buying Bitcoin. But later in the afternoon, GameStop looked to finance its Bitcoin strategy through $1.3 billion offering of convertible senior notes. What is a convertible senior note? It's debt that can be later converted into equity, shares, which will be used for general corporate purposes, including acquiring Bitcoin. And so now they're raising debt to buy more Bitcoin. Now, looking at some of the financials, they did pull in $131 million the last quarter of 2024, compared to only 60 the year before. Net sales have fallen $500 million yet they still made more profit. How do they do that? Aggressively cutting expenses, including closing 590 stores. Now, unless you're under a rock, GameStop was one of the main meme stock craze stocks there, where retail traders orchestrated a short squeeze that sent the price of the stock soaring. Some hedge funds closed down as a result of those losses sustained during the short squeeze, given the GameStop meme stock rise a David versus Goliath narrative. And they're trying to do it again. They're literally trying to short sell it. And so I almost want to buy some GameStop just out of solidarity. Just out of like 2 shares, nothing crazy.
Out of solidarity.
Yeah, just show a little love.
I think GameStop's gonna turn around. They're gonna become Bitcoin stop.
Let's check on their stock.
They
right
are they ripped. I don't know.
It's down.
Did they rip yesterday though?
It is down 12%. Remember, it was up about 12%.
So
Me and
back
TJ
to
were
where it
talking
was?
after market before the market's open. It dumped after market here.
Up 5% still.
Here we go, the
5 days.
5-day, and then the market's closed right there, 345 or 4. Boom, fell off a cliff after markets just started dumping.
So
The short sellers are trying to get
they
in
haven't
much.
bought Bitcoin yet though. So
They haven't.
I think as soon just like MetaPlanet, I think you're gonna see that price action. Those people short in GameStop
This is Wall Street manipulation.
playing some. Oh, for sure. Yeah, 100%. But
I'm
they
just-
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Good. No, I'm just curious if he could go to the month. I'm just curious what it
Oh, the
looks
1
like.
month?
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
Honestly,
I mean, you
not
just
too
see it
bad.
erasing
I
all
mean,
its gains. And then some.
Comparably to the rest of the stock
Go to
market,
the
it's
3
been
month?
pretty even. But
Yeah.
like, what's interesting is they have
Interesting.
like $5.4 billion
bad.
or something in cash offerings, so they can actually borrow or loan up to $100 billion worth of. They could take out $100 billion loan, so to speak. So it's gonna be interesting how much Bitcoin they buy. We know they've met notoriously with Michael Saylor. Are they going to completely revamp their entire strategy of what their company is actually built for?
Arrow's asking, well, why are they diluting their stock? Don't they have like 4.2 billion, but they have billions in cash.
4.2 billion.
Yeah. Why
sa-
are they diluting their stock?
Same reason why Michael Saylor is. It's why does he keep selling off his stocks and hosting these offerings to raise?
Well, he is raising debt with low interest rates, and the way he's seeing it, if I borrow $100 it's really low, like 2%.
No, it's like
1%.
zero. He's getting 0%
Yeah,
loans.
really, really low. Basically free money. He's like,
Yeah.
well, if I just buy Bitcoin with free money
Mhm.
and then I pay back that money in the future, Bitcoin
So-
should rise.
Yeah,
That should be
so my
fine.
point would be like, and I know you probably agree with this, is he's meeting with Michael Saylor like consecutively. So I would just say watch it closely. But he is watching Michael Saylor, who is somebody that went from a $250 or $600 million company value in 2019 to now a $100 billion value in the course of 4.5 years, and has been at the forefront of all your crypto innovation. So usually the most ironic outcome ends up being the outcome, or whatever Elon Musk's famous words are. I wouldn't be surprised if GameStop ended up becoming one of the largest net buyers and purchasers of Bitcoin as an asset and crushed it. Because look at GameStop, like you have. The entire GameStop is the retail stock. It's
the quintessential retail stock.
It is the retail stock. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was another FU to the the big man, so to speak. And it's very interesting. I'm very excited to see what they roll out as. And man, F Wall Street for trying to short that stock.
And the Elon quote is kind of similar. It's related to, are we in a simulation? And the most entertaining outcome is the most likely. And there's people posit that if we're in a simulation, that is part of the programming of the simulation we're in.
Interesting.
Then that's a whole different episode, folks.
Yeah, that's a basement episode, right?
It's
We're
a
in,
basement episode.
Yeah.
Josh, TJ, who's your favorite rapper? Chat. Who's the best rapper? Don't say Biggie or Tupac. So take out Biggie and Tupac. Who do you got left?
We're going down a slippery slope there. If you're taking out those two, there's so many metrics.
Ever. Today, who do you got? No one, but future Playboy Cardi. Young
I don't listen to rap. So
I like Eminem.
I like Eminem. Yeah, I like a lot of the lyrics. J. Cole and
Getting a lot of Eminem's, Kanye,
yeah,
Nas, Jay-Z.
I can't think of his name right now.
Lil
Why am I
Wayne.
spacing?
Lil
We
Wayne.
went to his conference.
He asked me 20 years ago or 15 years ago. Lil Wayne all day. Well, Eminem, something happened with Eminem and Bitcoin. Josh, I don't know how no one is talking about this. This should be, I would say, bigger news. Someone stole Eminem's songs and sold it for Bitcoin this week. This is a real thing. So Eminem's unreleased songs, this is a pittance, sold for $50,000 in Bitcoin, and the ex-engineer is charged. His name is Joe Strange. Joe Strange. That's such an odd name. So Joe Strange is charged with leaking and selling 25 of Eminem's unreleased songs for $50,000 in Bitcoin. And so he's charged. Joseph Strange, 46, worked in Eminem's studio in Michigan. I guess he's not in Detroit. Maybe that's a Detroit suburb. He violated a severance agreement. I guess he's severed. Maybe this is like Mark from, I don't know, but a severance agreement that specifically barred him from circulating the rapper songs. According to the New York Times, Strange sold 25 songs written by Eminem. This is really where it's crazy. Between 1999 and 2018, so he might have actually had some bangers. After Eminem became aware of the leak, one of his employees issued a warning via social media against sharing the music that prompted a tipster to expose Joe Strange, who confessed to having bought 25 songs, from the guy who bought it from Strange sometime in 2024. So he got cheaper Bitcoin. He might have got a whole Bitcoin. The Canadian claimed that the Bitcoin used to acquire the music was raised from a group of Eminem fans. So Eminem fans crowdsourced Bitcoin, then bought stolen Eminem songs with Bitcoin, and the guy's just getting charged today. Joe Strange. A strange story, right?
That is a strange story.
How's no one heard about this? I've never heard of it. I saw it this morning. I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, I mean, he's an idiot. He got caught.
Slim Shady. Yeah, it was very shady.
It wasn't very slim. Yeah, it was quite shady to be anything there. But yeah, no, it was that's kind of crazy to see.
Eminem doesn't give a F about 50K. He should have countered. Hey, they're trying to pay me 50K. I got 100K for you here. Let's see.
I'd be offended if I was Eminem and like my unreleased songs only sold for 50K.
I'd be offended if my favorite rapper was Eazy-E, but that's fine. Yeah, Crypto Chef, not even one Bitcoin. Well, it was in 2024. We don't know when exactly. I like to think that maybe it was a whole Bitcoin, right around maybe when Bitcoin was 50K. So we got a Bitcoin for 25 of Eminem songs. I feel like Eminem songs from 1999 to that period, they should be worth more than one Bitcoin. You feed it into AI, you have your own Eminem AI robot. Easy. God, some of you guys. All right, let's breaking news here. Breaking news. Donald Trump just endorsed Cynthia Lummis's Bitcoin advocacy plan. This is from Trump's Truth Social account, or a screenshot from it. We're working closely to make America the crypto capital of the world. And so now we have Donald Trump endorsing the Lummis plan. And of course, the Lummis plan, accumulate 200,000 Bitcoin every single year for the next 5 years. Basically, everyone's assuming there's going to be buying pressure with budget neutral ways. She's kind of explained, we could reallocate how we listed our assets in gold, or maybe we could do it with expenditures, forfeitures. Do you think this changes the odds that the Lummis Act gets passed, Josh, now that we have Trump endorsement?
I would like to see it. I think we're gonna. I think it's bipartisan at this point, so I'm very hopeful. But there's so many roadblocks when you got to go through the Senate and the House. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But because Congress wants control of the purse, right? So it's like if they can come up with the budget neutral ways, which there's many different ways to do so. Bo Hines was talking about this yesterday. I think we could see these frameworks starting to be issued sometime in early August of this year. But we got some time. We got a lot of work to get there. But I think Cynthia Lummis can pull it off. I mean, we've been watching her do this for how many years now, and she has gone from having just a conversation to now actually introducing these, and even getting Wyoming on the forefront of actually buying it on the state level. So, yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm hopeful for it. I think we just got a lot of groundwork to do and a lot of upside action that needs to be taken in Congress to make it happen.
All right, and speaking of making it happen, we got Rick. What 5 coins with the $2 super chat should I buy for short-term gains? Well, I actually have some longs that are open, and I'll explain why I'm bullish on these. And so there's the one yesterday. You remember we opened an Aave long, everybody? I kept it open. I did close some of it in profit around last night, maybe around this area right here. Wrote it down during this morning. I was watching the markets this morning like, oh my God, I want to close this. I'll leave it open for the Disco fam. But TJ, I opened 3 more longs this morning.
Yeah.
Well, let's see my entry points, folks. Let's see the entry points. This is Chainlink. Boy, oh boy, look at that entry point. We got Sui. That entry point. We got one more. We got ETH. All right, folks. Sometimes you just get lucky. I'll say that's more luck than skill there. But I did not, we identified a lot of these oversold RSIs, how it's behaved in the past. To me, I had enough conviction when I looked at the RSI on Bitcoin there. But 5 coins. I like ETH, Sui, Chainlink, and Aave. I would actually say these are 4 of the 5 good coins. I'm going to be biased and say Cardano, but maybe it's Ondo. What
Yeah,
what
I
do you
like
think about the 5 coins? Do you have any other that are not on this list?
No, those are great picks. I will say, if you guys want to trade like DZ's doing, we have a link for LBank down in the description. They are a partner at the channel here.
I'll put an extra code in.
Extra code. But yeah, and if you use that, you do get bonuses when you sign up and all that sort of stuff. It's great. You can use self custody. Doesn't require a lot of KYC, so a lot of people like it. But no, if I had to put another one in there, move your head to the right just a touch, Josh. I think it's the right. There you go. Right below Avalanche, right behind Josh's head. That's a sneaky one that has been a lot of bullish activity going on lately. I'm seeing a lot of chatter in the deep research about good moves coming out of them. I think people are sleeping on it a little bit. And I do think it could get up there with a lot of the other ones you just mentioned. So yeah, I would slide that one in.
We do have also some breaking news today that is exciting that people really kind of forgot about. Paul Atkins, the new SEC chair, is going to be nominated today.
Nice.
In his hearing at Capitol Hill. And Eleanor Tourette there is actually there right now, and she's got a quote here from 27 minutes ago. One thing I can say about the SEC is that under your predecessor, there was no golden age. She went on to list some low points of the SEC under Gensler here. Atkins says that all the prior issues are disturbing, and he commits to getting to work to boost agency morale and cure dysfunction and demoralization. He says he wants to go back to basics and get back to the mission here. Ranking member Senator Warren calls Atkins' financial conflicts of interest breathtaking here. And that is good old yeah, that's Elizabeth Warren for you. Just absolutely being the I'm gonna remove the politics.
It is a thorny issue.
Yeah,
it is a thorny issue when you have someone that is successful in business. They probably have some assets, and then when you want someone that's running the business that is America, you probably want them to be successful at business. And it's hard to find someone that is successful that also just has 0 assets.
To me, it's
not everybody just wants to buy a boring S&P 500 fund. Some of these people have equity in companies, and not everyone's going to be like David Sachs, where they divest themselves, losing hundreds of millions of dollars to then go work for the government for free. So, I mean, it is difficult. If we want to get the best candidates, maybe it shouldn't be, you got to be poor like Tim Walz. And I'm not trying to point anything. It's just Tim Walz famously, I don't have any stocks. Maybe that's not what we should expect from people running
the financial sector of the world.
$1 trillion corporation.
It's weird. It's like they want a resume. And it's like, what would make a successful SEC chair? Probably somebody that's been very successful in financial markets, right? But then it's also weird that Elizabeth Warren's the one calling him out when she's probably worth about another 100x of what his own net worth is. I mean, she's worth almost $100 million. So it's very, the conflict of interest is Senator Warren, who's been saying she's going to make housing affordable for the last freaking 2 decades, or whenever she was born back in like 1704, before the Declaration of Independence was even put into place. But that's the irony out of this. And again, under Elizabeth Warren's control, the anti-crypto army, she's hurt more investors than almost anybody she's up there with Gary Gensler in attacking the entire crypto administration. So very excited for this. I think people are still not realizing really how powerful Paul Atkins is. Was on the board of RSR Reserve Rights. He's worked closely with, of course, projects like Arkham Intelligence. So he's deep into the crypto space, and it's very exciting to see what he's going to do in this industry. And I think it's going to be very powerful when he speaks on the regulations, and you might see that really flow back over into our markets over the coming weeks.
We do have a funny chat. Truck Dano, she was born in Jamestown. No, that's Nancy Pelosi. She's the only one that's old. But Trump's old too. All right, this is from the big coverage that we did yesterday of the digital asset. What was the digital asset summit group?
DC Summit, yeah.
DC Summit, yeah, the DC Summit here.
They all have the same name, it feels like. They're all DC Summit.
Digital Asset. Okay. Well, then I'm thrown off by this post here from Digital Asset Investors, just screwing me up here, but asked about crypto. The first keywords out of Don Jr.'s mouth, utility treasuries and the petrodollar. I kind of agree with this take. With our, current leadership, crypto maybe has never been about green candles and cartoon monkeys. It's about the US dollar as a world reserve currency and replacing the petrodollar. This big picture stuff is going to take us beyond the moon. And so they're saying, maybe part of the reasons we're seeing the government shift into a friendly stance towards crypto is just to continue dollar dominance. I think it's a very fair statement, but it bodes well for Bitcoin's price either way.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's where we're heading in crypto right now. We talked about it yesterday. We've been talking about it actually for the whole year leading up to this, that crypto is moving, or in blockchain, to a mainstream industry. It's a multi-trillion-dollar industry. It's going to be a $10 trillion plus industry very soon. It's going to be one of the biggest industries in the entire world. If we want to remain competitive, if we want the dollar to survive, which we had a pretty good conversation about that yesterday, they have no choice. We're in the adapt or die season for banks, for treasuries, for the dollar. And what's great is we're actually adapting now as a nation. It's good here if you live in the US, and it's good that we're trying to fix the money. We're trying to move away from this fiat system where any government can print as much as they want and devalue their citizens' wealth overnight. We're trying to move to where there's actually some hard assets backing some of this stuff up. I thought Junior made a lot of really good points about coming out of a hard asset industry like real estate and understanding the value of something that you can't just, add a few zeros to the balance sheet and boom, there's a bunch more of it. Like, they understand where we're going. You can argue all you want about conflicts of interest, but bottom line, this is good for crypto. This is good for you if you live in the United States. It's not going to happen overnight. You guys have to get out of that 6-week, 6-month time frame headspace. So many people have this. Even questions in the chat. I don't fault it when people are asking, like, how do I make money fast? But the truth is, get the word fast out of your vocabulary. Stop trying to make money fast. Get rich quick schemes rarely work. There's extremely.
I saw a good question by MinSwap Intern. I brought him up yesterday, just a good account. He had this question: would you rather 10x now or 100x in 5 years?
Exactly. I'll take the 100x.
I'll take the 100x, but I think a lot of people are like, oh, I'll 10x now because I'll 10x over the next 5 years.
Yeah,
you could.
And I mean, that's the number. That's one of the leading metrics for intelligence, right? They do that test with children. If a kid,
delayed gratification.
Yeah, the delayed gratification. If you can do that, that's a sign of high IQ most of the time. So,
and then the low IQ is but I didn't have breakfast this morning, but that's a whole nother conversation. Let's talk about ETH today. I think about that quote probably twice a week. ETH, 10.84 million ETH in 24 hours. What the hell are the bulls up to? What kind of S are the bulls into? I want to just throw this up because it's showing the leverage, the interest, the open interest. So the bulls are digging in and trading the open interest had a 2.61% surge in the last 24 hours. Normally, that would not be that significant. But what made this significant is, not the dollar amount was 10 million ETH, $22 billion. ETH future traders are committing massive amounts. The major news is Bitcoin is down. Open interest dropped 3.77%. So to me, maybe we're seeing a little bit of bullishness on ETH from the whale activity, but has it exhausted its upward movements? This is the type of article you would see right before ETH goes on a run up here. So the daily chart still struggling to break above this $2,200 level. The recovery from 1,800 has lost momentum, and it's well below the 200-day moving average. But on the 4-hour time frame, we're now breaking below the lower boundary of an ascending channel. I'm looking at the ascending channel. To me, the structure is still strong. This is the 4-hour chart here. We did just come down and wick down and test it. We don't know what the next move is going to be, obviously, here. But you can see it did a double touch bounce, a little bit of a double touch bounce. And we got another double touch. Is the bounce going to be coming up next? If we were to measure the move to the top of the channel, we're going to have a nice 6% pump and right around $2,100 ETH. What the hell is this yellow line? This yellow line is still important. We drew it days ago, maybe even a week ago. This is ETH multi-year support. We scroll. This is actually going from the top of the previous cycle. Came down, hit that, came down, hit that, came down, hit that. Feeling pretty good about ETH right now. So part of the reason we have the ETH long open, but I have closed half the SWI long. So SWI showing a little bit of weakness in the smaller time frames. But ETH, I mean, if ETH keeps pumping, I might keep that trade open for, maybe hours or days, maybe not just a short turnaround here. But we also got some major DeFi news. But Josh, before we move on, what are your thoughts of ETH? Are you bullish at this level? I mean,
I'm bullish on Ethereum. Yeah. We keep talking about, like, people don't expect, ETH to perform this cycle. And I think that's ridiculous. I think I should tag you on Retard Finder on Twitter or something. Dude, Ethereum is the biggest chain in terms of smart contract development. It has the most users. It's got the most development. It's got the most tokenization. And yes, there's competitors out there like BNB and Tron that might be performing a little bit better. But perhaps it's ETFs, whatever the manipulation is on the back end. Ethereum's a really, really fantastic network. And whether you want to make the case for transactions or whatever the case is there, you can make those arguments, but ETH is going to perform again this cycle. And it, like, there's the conversation that people saying, well, maybe Ethereum is becoming the Macy's of, retail, right? Maybe it's becoming outdated and there's better options out there. I still think it's way too early of an industry and sector, especially in terms of how adoption operates, where Ethereum's getting the ETF. Ethereum's going to get the staking a part of those initiatives soon. Again, you have Paul Atkins coming in here very soon. That's going to switch up a lot of the regulations and ties. I'm expecting a new all-time high on Ethereum this cycle. And people are going to unfortunately miss out on a lot of that because they're out chasing other greener candlesticks. Yeah. And again, I think it's just a blue chip project at this point, guys. Ethereum is blue chip. I think Vitalik will come back a little bit from here. But is it a long-term play? Am I holding it for 5 years? I'm probably trying to get out of Ethereum this cycle. Just based on what we've seen with development.
Yeah, I dropped the .eth and lowered my exposure after the communism is great again.
But I expect all of it to pump this cycle.
Let me ask you guys this.
Is communism great?
What are the top 2 things being talked about by the richest, most powerful people in the world as it relates to crypto right now?
Like Ethereum and Bitcoin.
Stable coins, Bitcoin.
Oh, stable coins, yes, which are all built on
stable coins. Yeah. And I would say RWAs, tokenized treasuries, tokenized assets, that sort of stuff. If you look at this, I think this speaks volumes right here. BlackRock's ETH Fiddle Fund. We've been covering it a lot for a year plus now at this point. Triples in value. Mm-hmm. This is just recently, in just 3 weeks. Ethereum is the #1 chain, whether you like it or not. All of these stable coins that are being launched and built are on Ethereum. Almost all the RWA, almost all the real DeFi. So the serious big money is looking at Ethereum right now. It's not going anywhere. And people that chains that claim to be competitors to it, they have a ways to go before they're even on. Like, it's so interesting to me to watch all these chains act like they're superior to Ethereum when they haven't even achieved what ETH has. They haven't even come close to Ethereum's market cap. They haven't even come close to the adoption. They haven't even come close to the infrastructure, the brand awareness, all these different things. If we pull it here, look at, you got Ethereum here. The next closest thing down is BNB and Solana, and they're roughly a third of the size. So a lot of chains have a ways to go before they're gonna replace Ethereum, and there's really no data points showing that that's happening. So ETH is not dead. It's got plenty of time. It may not be, you may not get the type of gains that you did before. I do think diminishing returns are real with some of these L1s. I think we're going to see the end of diminished returns on Bitcoin this cycle. But and there are a lot of competitors, and I do think, to Josh's point, I'm not necessarily saying I'm going to stay in Ethereum forever, but all signs point to growth on Ethereum right now.
Yeah,
but,
go ahead.
I was going to say, I was like, even though I might not stay in Ethereum forever, I'm for sure as hell going to be using the network. Like, if I'm using stablecoin and issuance providers to farm DeFi yield, that's going to be a key area and aspect of the industry. And I think, to your point, TJ, it's a good point. Most of the people that hate on Bitcoin or Ethereum, and I'm saying both in this general, are doing so and trying to favor and pump up their layer 1, their layer 2, or whatever their project is. Oh, well, Bitcoin's slow, or Ethereum's not a good enough network. And it's like, they're cannibalizing the industry, and they're just trying to attack each other for whatever price valuation they think that's going to hopefully roll retail back into FOMOing into their project. And so I don't think there's like a real fundamental argument to claim right now that Ethereum is a dying chain, especially when you're looking at the whale accumulation, the tokenization, the stablecoin market. It just doesn't make sense. So I think, again, what people should be focusing on is this industry is maturing, and there's other layers, there's other blockchains, there's other systems that are being developed that could be prosperous. But you shouldn't be preying on the downfall of the second largest chain and the one that's responsible for all the innovation, mind you, in smart contracts. Look, Cardano, Polkadot, these all stem from Ethereum. These are all early founders of the Ethereum Foundation. And so it's like, what it has accomplished and the network effect that's been established because of ETH, I think the chat said it rightly here. It's like a Yahoo or Google, where it might end up being like Yahoo. Yeah, it might fade away, and there might be other platforms that do better in the long term. But I think it's going to be around for a very long time.
Yeah, I would agree. And there are bearish metrics, but there's bullish metrics, and I think we got to say, there's definitely both. There's upside and downside potential here. We got some birthdays in the chat. I just want to give a little love to the Disco fam here. Birthday is tomorrow, turning 25. Yikes. Imagine being my age. That's when you really feel yikes. We got Nicholas Dolan, 1 year crypto birthday. This is all right. That feels pretty good. Would have been better 2 years ago, but we'll allow it. And then your birthday does matter. Beep boop. So don't you ever say that. Your birthday 100% matters. So all right, but I'll tell you what matters more. You hitting the like button. It's worth a lot more than your mom giving birth to you.
And King D put a super chat here for $2. What about Matic and Polygon? This is a great question. Man, dude, Polygon's all the way down to 23 cents.
L2s have a lot more competition
example.
now.
This was a L2 that it was like, oh, screw Ethereum, go all in on Polygon Matic here.
That chart looks not terrible.
It does look terrible. It actually looks like it can break out here.
Yeah.
But Polygon's dropped the ball on the L2. So Polygon was it was the next sliced bread in 2021. But this entire market, it has been it's been getting destroyed. I mean, absolutely.
People ask us about Matic every day. I think a lot of people got 2021 cycle bags. Like, just wondering, why isn't it pumping?
Dude, look, it's like down below March 2021. Yeah, this is one of those platforms, guys, that is just like, if you're in Polygon Matic still, I would like to see a $1.20 this cycle, but they have been underperforming. They've had a lot of DeFi leave their ecosystem, which means a lot of liquidity has left the ecosystem. And they need to turn around things quickly, or else I think Polygon Matic's going to turn into a ghost chain over the next 4 years, unfortunately. And I would have to go look at the updates again here, but Polygon 2.0 did not hit. I think a huge part of it was when they changed their name from Matic to Pol. That's a terrible marketing play.
Someone brought up yesterday the rebrand wasn't smart.
Smart at all. There hasn't been a successful what's one rebrand in crypto that's been maybe Sonic, which when you rebrand, it's hard to really, it takes months, if not years.
Multiverse, E-Gold comes to mind.
Especially that they had all that SEO from 2021. They were the L2, and now like they are if you look up, like, no one's looking up Pol, on Google. So
don't look up Pol on Google. We do have some DeFi news here. This is just kind of bullish for everything we're pointing to, and it really takes you to this point where the ETH BUIDL fund is tripling in value. This might be one of the reasons why the Senate repealed. I'm maybe alleging that BlackRock had inside info on whether or not this would pass, but Senate repeals the IRS DeFi rule, delivering a major win for the crypto industry. That passed 70-28, which is pretty significant because that is beyond the 2/3 majority needed to repeal IRS rule that sought to expand tax reporting obligations to DeFi platforms. The way it was described is every single Uniswap swap, they would want KYC information. And they're like, this is literally impossible. You will just destroy Uniswap. You'll destroy every single decentralized exchange under the sun, specifically aimed to classify DeFi platforms and validators as brokers, requiring them to report customer transactions to the IRS, similar to centralized cryptocurrency exchanges. Yeah, imagine going to Uniswap. You're just trying to get the new token, or Jupiter. They're like, yeah, upload a photo of you holding your license. You're like, well, that's not decentralized, folks. And so maybe this is why we're seeing a lot of building on ETH as we're getting more and more favorable rules. And you're looking at Aave here. This is from Stani, the founder of Aave. He just listed Aave is now 25% of all DeFi. Part of the reasons we are bullish on Aave. Checking in on the Aave trade. We're still doing good. We're still doing it at 65% profit. Nice. We're just going to keep riding this. SWE has fallen a little bit. Remember, it was $50. Now that's $35. So yeah, maybe we took a good little exit there. Moving forward here, I'm
looking at this Matic. I think I'm going to drop a video on this Matic.
Do it. People need it. A lot of people are asking about it. I would say that's probably a good video.
I still hold a decent amount of it too, but looking at the weekly time frame, again, a bit of a bullish divergence here.
Remember, I tried to get you to sell it all.
I sold a good amount of it, but it was but I sold most of my Polygon Matic last cycle because that was one of my first almost 100Xs. We bought it at 3 cents and it went to like $2.90. I didn't sell the exact top, but we made that was Polygon Matic, VeChain, and Zilliqa actually were some, and Crypto.com even were some of my bigger plays in 2021. But this is, the chart action's looking decent here. And their partnerships look like they're expanding here. So I'm going to do a video. I'm going to just do an update on Polygon Matic, what it means, because it might be a bit of a sleeping giant here. But again, in the sense that it's kind of a conservative price point, but this might be a pretty decent entry point here on Polygon Matic.
I would agree. We do have David Sachs. Now, this is interesting because he sold a lot of his bags. He sold a lot of his investments. And so this is almost, I think this could be just a fair take, but he's also the AI czar. So maybe you got to take this with a grain of salt. This was a quote tweet from 2023. So this is the 2023 tweet. Every new technology wave causes the previous one to be reinterpreted as stepping stones. PCs, mainframe shrunk down. Internet. Now we have a bunch of things we can do on a PC. Social is get off the internet to interact with other people. Mobile, actually, PC wasn't that personal. The phone is the real personal computer. And then AI, the reason we gave computer access was let us solve problems for us. AI is the biggest wave. Now he's saying everything was leading up to agents, biggest wave ever. And that might take us to the hype story. But are you still bullish on AI projects? Like, would you enter in the market, TJ, say?
I'm still bullish on the technology of AI, and I think what's important is kind of this what he was.
I was the bear of the group, remember?
Yeah, I do, and I do think they're hyped up. I do think the timeline and expectation is something we need to keep in check. But I do agree with basically the sentiment he was communicating. That actually ties back to what I was saying earlier in the show that things in markets evolved and things change, and you have to constantly be updating and adapting your strategy with your investments, with technology. If you're investing in technology, it does move quickly. I do think people in this space understand and get what's coming in the future very quickly, but they often assume we do. Like I think Cardone said it pretty good yesterday on the show. We live in a little bit of an echo chamber where we get affirmed on our own beliefs a lot because we're hanging out around a lot of people that think similarly. Yes, we're very forward thinking. We're very good visionaries, but we're often on the bleeding edge, way out ahead of mainstream adoption. So I do think agents are going to proliferate. They're going to be all over all sorts of things over the next coming 5 to 10 years, so to speak. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm running out to buy a bunch of more AI agent coins. Do I think they're going to get another resurgence in this part of the market in this cycle? Yes, I do. I do think there will be a rotation back into AI-focused projects. I think they got hyped up around the time David Sachs was getting in, around the time that they were making an AI czar. Kind of like memes. Memes got a huge pump. All sorts of memes were doing well. They all crashed. Do I think they will have another moment? I do. But a lot of what is being marketed and sold is, I wouldn't quite call it vaporware, but it's not what it's being marketed as.
Are you ready to look at one of the most bullish AI charts I've seen?
Yeah, let's see.
I'm not actually kidding. So I went to Tau, and this is the 1 year, and I noticed the bottoms. I was like,
yeah, that looks good.
I went to TradingView while you're chatting. Look at that, TJ.
Wow.
That. Yeah, Tau. I would say Tau is a pretty good entry point around here. You know, it would have been a little bit better to hit here, especially the wick below. But institutional interest is in Tau, and so the big money is going to look at these type of charts, see that not a single daily candle closed below this level, which is also very bullish. And so Tau at this level looks pretty good. Now we might come down, might wick down below, but maybe have some more dry powder on the sidelines. So if you're bullish on the AI and you want something maybe a little bit safer, I'm liking the chart here on Tau. That's looking pretty good.
That looks really good.
Just got a text from what do you call it? DeLorean.
Oh.
There was a huge airdrop apparently from SWE for anybody that got into that early on here. So we actually need to look at that today. But Walrus, you guys know what Walrus is? I guess SWE airdropped all the DeLorean holders Walrus token here.
Yeah, Ian's going hard on the school choice thing.
Yeah,
it's to accredit the homeschool with federal guidelines, and it's kind of like a fox in the hen house.
I don't know how, because I was homeschooled for quite a bit, and I turned out all right. So yeah, I'm a fan, baby. Yeah.
No. I saw that too. I think what he's talking about is pretty nuanced, because you can see it a lot in California where they do charter funds and they allow you to get government funding for homeschool things. Right. But then they also control what is a charter school and who gets it and all that stuff. It's a slippery slope. I think, like many things in government, they start off okay, and then you're slowly giving up more and more control. So yeah, I'm a fan of homeschooling too. I was also homeschooled. So, and yeah, guys, I know the mics are a little tight. They are a little messy because we loosened up the noise gate on theirs because for when it was just Josh in here. So we'll tighten those up.
So, and TJ, after stream, we'll check this out here. But yeah, Walrus is like at a 500 mil market cap. So the SWE Foundation airdropped everybody today. So we'll go check that out here. And for anybody that didn't know what it was, that is going to be the DeLorean project that is launching here. They've been on a roll, sponsoring most of your events. But we called this out quite some time ago. They're working and partnered directly alongside SWE. And they're going to be launching their cars on chain, similar to Carfax, but using blockchain in a really, really cool marketplace. So We'll cover that here soon.
One last thing on the Department of Education. Did you see that, we have a Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon? She met with the teachers union yesterday.
How was that?
Yeah, we have a photo right here. This is Linda McMahon with the head of the teachers union. So yes, Vince McMahon's wife is the Department of Education secretary. Although they say she was actually very implemental in running WWE, which is a publicly traded company that started as a private company that built up. So maybe she built up $1 billion company with the help of her husband. So she probably is capable, but it's kind of funny at the same time. We do have that whale story with the hyperliquid whale, just kind of the broad strokes on it. The whale holds 10% of a meme coin after he tried to exploit hyperliquid. And so he manipulated the price, and he still holds $2 million worth of the token. He opened 3 large trading positions within 5 minutes, 2 longs, and then a short position that offset the longs. When it rose, the 4 million short position wasn't immediately liquidated due to its size. So if you have a very large position, when it gets liquidated, it is absorbed into the hyper liquidity provider vault, which is designed to liquidate large positions. And then, the entity continued selling the tokens despite freezing and delisting the meme coin, citing evidence of suspicious market activity involving trading instruments. And basically, the allegations now are centralized exchanges like Binance and maybe others are attacking the decentralized trading platforms. And Arkham broke it down via wallets. I mean, if you want to follow the actual transactions, they got it all, attacker logs and the whole 9 there. I would say that's very likely that, it is centralized exchanges leading this charge. And it looks like the funds came from OKX and Binance or this wallet. I don't think it's CZ though.
No, I don't think
it's a little far-fetched.
People are trying to attribute it to exactly CZ. This has been very interesting to follow. If you guys go follow the Discover Crypto X channel, and I posted a funny video of this. I can't show it here because it's a clip from the Matrix. It'll probably get us copyright, but I love it when they take, and assign all the, this is Jeff over here, and then here's the jelly traders, and people going short, people going long, OKX rushing to list it. So a lot happened, and mostly yesterday and the day before on this saga. But people have very strong responses to it. And to me, it's not unlike what we're seeing between the battle with banks and stable coins or traditional system and crypto. You're going to see these are businesses that compete against each other. So when there's a huge amount of volume on a certain coin, these exchanges are going to rush to list it. Now, was there definite whale games going on? Absolutely. But that's basically what trading is. You guys have to remember, trading is a PvP game, and traders are out to wreck each other for their own gain. If they can have a mass liquidation over here to make $5 million, they're going to do it. If this other side thinks that they can make $10 million by fighting back, they're going to do it. And so it's almost like getting mad when somebody bets it, I bet for the Eagles, and then the other guy bets for the other team. And it's and you're mad that he's betting against you. It's
as a Cowboys fan, that's a personal attack.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's the way the game is played. Can it get a little dirty sometimes? Absolutely. Watching the order books is definitely it was fun it was peak level entertainment. Now we talked about if we would cover it here on this channel. We decided not to because it's very high level trading type stuff. So if you're not really familiar with order books and the way that the automated liquidity system on Hyperliquid works and all that sort of stuff, then you can get into the weeds real fast. But definitely go check it out. There's definitely a few good breakdowns on Discover Crypto X account.
All right. We got K-Jam. I bet for a Steve Miller band, not the Eagles. Don Henley is his voice, man, just drives me crazy. In New York Minute. Let's look at Cardano.
Let's not do that again.
Hey, you don't like Eagles, man? Hell will freeze over.
Are you going to be singing at your wedding? I heard you made your fiance a song.
Maybe I will. All right, we have just a Cardano pump could be in the works, folks. We do have a technical level below us and a technical level above us. I don't want to get into the whole article here, but I also have a different technical level to the upside here. So we go to the charts on the 1 minute. Things have been dumping lately. I felt pretty good about closing some of that sweep position at least, but getting to the point where we start getting some bull divs on these smaller time frames, I might have to open a long on Cardano. Let's zoom out. Let's talk about these levels. So the level down below, they're saying, we might come down to the wicks here, but I also see a little bit of this trading range. And so I have a different level to the downside and a different level to the upside. To the downside, we might go from 73 cents all the way down to 70, wicking into 69. I don't know. And then if we go to the upside, though, we also have, a little bit of the top of the range. And if it were to happen, say over the next couple of days, $1.11, and there's a lot of resistance and a lot of action around this 110, 112 range. And so that's going to me, these are the likely Cardano targets. I see a lot more potential room to the upside versus the downside. We did have people in the chat yesterday talking about the bear divergences on the 2-hour. Let's see how that played out. Yeah, you can see it here. Much lower, maybe not much, but lower on the RSI, where we have a higher high. We have a lower high here. Cardano fell off a cliff. So if the people in the chat talking about that Cardano 2-hour bear div, congrats. But now maybe we're starting to see a little bit of support. So that's what I got for Cardano. And I did want to share Tesla. I said Tesla is a buy. I normally don't talk about stocks on the main show. Hit that like button, though. But we do every Friday members only stream. People do have some exposure to the stock market. So Tesla on a huge run. I don't know if Tim Walz can financially recover from this, Josh.
I don't know if Tim Walz can run, to be honest.
He can clap. He can jump. No, the man's got hops for his age. He's always doing all that stuff.
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
He doesn't like people bouncing around stage like a dipshit, though.
Oh no, dude! I heard he scares MAGA Republicans. He can beat them up. He said it. Yeah, I'm scared of him.
Well, if you're scared of Tim Walz, please smash that like button.
Apparently, he can fix a truck. I don't think he was handed tools. He could fix a truck, but he could. He said he could fix a truck.
What
does that mean? Fix a truck? Can you do it?
Well, I used to own a mechanic shop, so I mean, the older truck, super easy. Cybertruck, I wouldn't be able to touch it.
Yeah. I don't know. I couldn't fix an old truck
unless I was in
it was like I can change tires, I can do an oil change, I can change brakes, but that's about it.
So it's basically the play is any damaged Tesla Cybertruck or any damaged Tesla vehicle at all, we bring to Tim Walz mechanic shop and he'll fix it up for everybody.
He'll buff it right out.
Yeah, he'll buff it
right out. Then his wife's crazy eyes does like a laser etching, and so she can get any kind of logo on there. All right, well, folks, that's all we got for today. We're gonna be putting out videos tonight, tomorrow, and through the weekend. So make sure you have on notifications. And if you're not following us, you're not subscribed, you're making a huge mistake. We're just trying to change your life for the better by giving you financial freedom. This is Disco Crypto Live. Make sure you go follow our new X account, follow Josh's account, follow my account. That's all we got.
Peace out.